You see, I make videos for people who are high level, but because of conditioning, because of what society tells you, it conditions us to think like, oh damn, maybe we're not so high level. Actually, we might be low level. How can that be? You see, so this is why I make videos, to clear up the brain damage, not to give techniques and some super special, exclusive, secret bypass on how to like accelerate your evolution. No, I say the opposite. I say grace is handling all that, and we can't really do anything about it. It's like if a kid's 5 years old, he can't make himself have a 30-year-old body. You got to just wait, let it unfold, and you're gonna have a 30-year-old body. It's the same with evolution, spiritual evolution, and insight and realizations. They come when they're supposed to come. Okay, so back to the title and the topic. What's the point? We can think sometimes because of this car we're driving. Do you understand that the body, human physical body, is a car? This is paramount. If that understanding's not there, the rest of everything I say is not going to make sense. That's cool. Watch something that makes sense to you. Those of you who know, though, there's some intuitive inclination. You know, even though maybe you haven't had the actual experience to see directly you're not this body, it's not always necessary. You have some intuition where you know when somebody like me is sharing these things, you know it's true. Somebody say, well, how do you know? How do you know that you know? I don't know, man, but I know. When you know that you know, then you'll know how I know that I know. It's like that. When you get inner confirmation, that supersedes any kind of external confirmation. That's why people who ask for proof, their mind's asking for proof about certain things. You can't give them proof. How do you know what happens when you die if that's not it? You'll answer that for yourself. It's the same thing with what I'm sharing now. Something in you knows that you're not this body. But it's easy to intertwine your spirituality with your mechanical body. This is what causes the brain damage. Because you're feeling, your body has certain limitations and imbalances and struggles. Others don't. You have a depth that others don't have access to because you can see it clearly. It's not a judgment, it's a simple observation, because when you start talking about things, it doesn't land and they don't understand. So you're like, how can I have this depth, but yet I'm in this car that's not working right? Shouldn't it be, if I'm more spiritual, shouldn't that straighten out the car? That's the brain damage. That thought, that belief, I know all about it because I had it for years. What a great liberation when within the infinite unfolding, it was my time to realize that wasn't true. It's all about timing, you know. I was like, this is just not true. This is a mechanical, this is some machine that I'm driving. It just doesn't matter. It has nothing to do with spirituality. It has nothing to do with my true soul nature. And if realization of my spiritual nature is high, that doesn't mean it's going to straighten the body out. It's like saying if I'm driving some pinto that's 20 years old, and it's like the electrical system's messed up and you got to hit it to make it start, and it's like, but then I do my meditation, my yoga, pranayama, and I'm feeling centered, I'm feeling peaceful. So then I think, okay, if I'm going to get into my pinto, somehow that spiritual vibe and aura should bleed through into the pinto and just kind of revamp it. I should drive now like the Ferrari, the Corvette, Cobra. I want a Cobra. Not really, I'm just saying. My nature, my spiritual vibes should like revolutionize this pinto, this mechanical failing pinto. So I get in the car, it's doing the same thing. It's like not starting. What's wrong? Like, why? You see? I'm telling you, it's the same. That analogy is the same thing for this body. It doesn't matter how high level you get spiritually. That doesn't necessarily bleed through and fix certain limitations in your physical body. If that was the case, any high level being, they wouldn't get sick, they wouldn't get cancer, they wouldn't have pain in their life, they wouldn't even die. Why? They would just regenerate their cell. Their cells would be in a constant state of regeneration because their spiritual nature was just reviving everything constantly. It's not like that. It seems very common sense and logical now, but man, I had that conditioning for a long time. I was somehow believing, using my how good a condition this body car was functioning as a measuring stick for my spiritual realization. I was thinking, but if I really know I'm not the body, if I'm able to witness, okay, do self-inquiry, feelings come up, I'm not that. If I was really doing that, I wouldn't feel any pain, or I wouldn't suffer the limitations of the body. It's not true. I don't know what else to say about it. It's not true. So that's the main thing I want to drive home, and then we can hit some other angles here. It's all about hitting different angles because everybody has their own little peculiar mindset and how they interpret things. And so sometimes, I can say the same thing over and over again, but when I say it in the 100th time that I say it, it'll be hitting a different angle, and then all of a sudden somebody will, oh, I get it. Yeah, that's true. I said, yeah, but I've said it the last 99 times too. Yeah, I don't know, but that cracked the combination to my vault of illusion, and so now I get it. So this is why we make videos and touch on all these different angles, because everybody has their own individual way of perceiving things. So another problem was when I was hitting spiritual classes left and right, and yoga teachers, and not just within the U.S. Man, I was that was my life. This is what I did. I was searching these people out, and I never heard him say what I'm saying now. This is why I make videos. I'm sharing the things I never heard that later I realized and wish I heard. That's what I do. So I'm talking to a very kind of niche down, exclusive group of people. I'm not trying to reach mainstream. Very small audience I'm talking to. I'm talking to my previous self. That's who I'm talking to. So I would go to these teachers, and they would either say point blank, or it be insinuating, you just gotta let go. If you keep doing your meditation and your yoga, you'll be able to let go of the pain. I say, yeah, but there's certain neuro wiring in my limbic system that's not functioning right. There's spasms and things taking place in my energy system, and it's uncomfortable. And it makes it difficult sometimes to regulate the emotional body and the thought process, and when I would try to explain that stuff to them, they didn't get it. They didn't get it, but they couldn't admit they didn't get it. That's the problem. The problem isn't if somebody doesn't get something, you're not going to get everything, because you can't. It's too many things. But just admit that you don't get it. See, if somebody's identified with being in the position that I'm showing way to the people, I'm a teacher, then they have a very difficult time, for the most part, admitting when they don't get something. How many times have you heard, the student or somebody's coming to them for counsel, and they say, you know what, I know what you're saying is true. I can feel the vibration, but I don't get it. That's a complex situation. I don't feel I'm best qualified to help you with that, because I don't have experience. It's a very nuanced situation you're in. Man, if they just said that, I'd be like, oh, thank you. I would have had, that truth right there would have had a vibration that could give me some healing because it's truth. But instead it's no, you have to witness it. You have to you're identifying with your body. They have a totally different mechanism. They have a totally different body that they're dealing with, a different system that they're dealing with. They're living in a different system than you. So they're unconsciously projecting that system onto you. They're like, oh, you just do this, do that. You just kind of it's like, no, bro, look, you don't have the same system. Within your system, within the framework of your system, what you're saying seems to make sense. But in somebody else's system, that stuff does not work. In fact, it makes it worse. Because then the person starts feeling guilt and shame and like, what am I doing wrong? There's something wrong with me because like why aren't I able to do this? He or she's telling the other disciples and students that this is all you have to do. And they seem to be responding in a optimistic way, like it's working. It's not working for me. How the hell is it not working for me? I'm like smart in there. How is it not working? What am I doing wrong? That self-talk, that creates more heavy negative energy and heavy emotions, which then make your already existing problem and imbalance even worse. It was nice to see how that worked. I realized I was causing myself much more pain than what my already existing limitation was causing me. And it wasn't about fixing it anymore. I share about this in my autobiography book. I spend my whole life looking for fixes and chasing fixes. And then the real fix happened after I stopped looking. But I had to keep looking to see like it didn't work. Oh, you gave up, man. Never give up. See, people don't understand. They don't have wisdom. Wisdom is knowing when you're supposed to give up. It's not you giving up because you're a failure. You're giving up simply because you see it's impossible. If I try to rip that tree out of the ground there, I'm gonna give up. Like, it's stupid. Like, I can't do it. It's stronger than me. Okay? This is the situation of some of the systems, the bodily systems and nervous system and limbic system that some people are living with. You cannot do nothing about that, and there's no human power that can do anything about that. You come to realize that after a certain point. I don't know, it took me some decades. Hopefully, if I would have heard this message back then, would it still took me decades? I don't know, it's speculation. But I'm hoping that the message I'm sharing might accelerate that. Maybe God's given a certain loophole now to, help accelerate that. Like back in the day, alcoholics were screwed before they had AA. I mean, some, they got on the religious kick and they got some help because their system responded to that. Not everybody did. Then AA came along, and all of a sudden, man, die-hard alcoholics were like getting sober and living a productive life and getting married and etc., having a good relation with their kids. So we don't know this evolution, how it works. Sometimes it interjects certain things into the world that can accelerate things because it deems it's time for that. I think I should make maybe a separate video talking about miracles and prayer, and because it doesn't work the way we think it works. That was another misnomer too, when I was in my search and going around and trying to seek refuge from what it felt like a body that was like trying to just kill me. They'd say, oh, you gotta pray, you gotta give your life up to God. Here, this person had the same thing as you, and they prayed, and they got healed. Jesus healed them. Yeah, if that was the destiny for them to get healed, then they get healed. You can't manipulate with destiny. What works for one person doesn't work for another. You can have the same exact label and diagnosis, but listen to this, both people will have the same seemingly issue or imbalance on paper, but be totally experiencing it in a different way. One can be deeper than others. If somebody had was epileptic, there's some people who they have seizures when they're younger. Then they grow out of it. And then some, they'll say, no, it's because I started taking these supplements, or I started living healthy, and so you can do it too now. And I'm going to be a teacher now and show everybody how to get rid of it. Somebody else who has is epileptic, their imbalance is deeper than the one who grew out of the seizures. Their imbalance, you can say, is more just on the level of the actual blueprint of the physical organism. It's just too deep. It's like DNA. It's like you're not going to beat it. You're not going to overcome it. It can even reach into the energy body, astral body, or causal body. You have to, those people, you can manage the symptoms for sure. You're not just totally hopeless, but to imagine or to project on some of these people, say, oh, but you can cure that, it's a big disservice. And it's a lie. It's actually bad karma, because you're like not helping. You're making it worse even. You might have to experience that for your own self, so that then you understand, like, oh yeah, there's some things that can't be getting rid of. Instead of being dogmatic and just say, all you gotta do is do this, or pray, you know. I think that deserves its own title, because it's not like when we're praying, I'll just share a little bit. God, please help me, or Jesus or Buddha or Krishna. It's not like there's an individual entity somewhere named God or named Jesus or named Buddha or Krishna or Shiva who is just sitting up there like waiting for somebody to call their name. And then they say, oh, this poor Johnny, he's really praying with fervor. I feel bad for him here. It don't work like that. It's if something gets, because miracles also exist. If something miraculously gets healed, it's not because some being had pity on you and you just prayed so hard and they felt sorry for you. You see what we do? We project our conditioning of our relationship with our parents onto the divine. We think if we do, oh, Dad or Mom, I'm so sorry, please, can you let me like go outside? Or is it, okay, Johnny, you can go, you know? It don't work like that. This whole life is not personal. If there's a miracle that happens, it's because by that happening, it somehow serves the total universal order. By something shifting, it helps eternity. Then maybe something could shift, but it's not personal. They're not doing it for you. This whole life is impersonal. The more I realized that, the more that answered. Why does this happen? Why does that happen? How could God do this? See, God's not an entity. He's not an individual entity. We think we're individual entities, so then we project that onto God or the infinite. The infinite is the infinite, and everything's unfolding. We don't know what's going to happen, and it's not personal when it happens. If a really good thing happens and we get the relationship, or we get the money, or we have a nice death of the physical body, it's not personal. If we end up getting tortured or getting stuck with some disease or disorder, and it causes a lot of symptoms and trouble, that's also not personal. It's the unfolding of the divine that wants to taste everything. I shouldn't say it wants to. That insinuates there's an individual thing that wants to do something. No, we can't understand how creation's put together. It has no boundaries. But here's the good part. In the end, we realize, oh, wait a minute. Not even in the end. When we leave this body, we realize like we never really suffered. It's like the body, you drop the body, you take that 3D headset off and you realize like nothing really happened. Some can realize that now. You can even look back in your past history and how many times there was something that was like the end of the world, it felt like. Now you can't even remember it. You can apply that across the board. So nothing's really personal, nothing's really forever. It's a divine dream. Damn, I think we hit everything without looking. Oh, I want to talk about a friend I had at once. So this was I call her, she was a real spiritual giant, man. She's probably 60 years old now. We haven't talked in a while, but this woman, when she spoke on spiritual matters, man, it had vibration, it had power behind it. You knew she knew what she was saying because she lived it, she experienced it. Much different than the average YouTuber who's just parroting things that sound good and that, you know, and then put a smile with it to look spiritual. No, this woman, man, was the real deal. And she had such neurological disorder. There were times she could not regulate her emotions. They'd just be flying off the handle, man. She could go into psychosis and nothing she could do about it. But you say, wait a minute though, she's a powerful spiritual being. How could that happen? Yeah, because that can happen. That's the point. It can happen. And then she'd share, she'd say, geez, I feel like I'm all the way back to square one. Intruders. He's peeping. I feel like I'm back to square one now. Like, where's my connection with the divine? Like, I can't even, because the identity with the body is so, that's just part of the tax for being human. Nobody can totally just be 100% detached from that. Not if you're given the right situation. And so it would reinforce and even deepen her humility even more when those episodes would happen, which would thereby increase her already existing super powerful depth that she already had. So just because our little mind can't understand why something happens and we take it personal and we feel bad and get pissed off, doesn't mean that there's not a deeper, much more intelligent reason why we're experiencing what we're experiencing. The most important thing, though, see, I started to share at the beginning, this body, this machine, a lot of people, especially the ones that watch my videos, these are the people I'm making the videos for. Your real problem isn't a spiritual problem. It's not a spiritual issue that you're having. It's a mechanical issue. But you did what I did, which is why I'm sharing about it. What's the word? You have abstracted the two. You made it the same. You still, because it's deep programming, deep conditioning, you think that you think if somehow you were more spiritual or enlightened, you wouldn't have these, it's more mental and emotional limitations. Physical limitations, we can somehow accept that more. But when it becomes mental and emotional, because people don't understand that those mechanisms, you start to think like there's something wrong with me. So I'm saying there's not. There's something imbalanced in your mental and emotional body. It has nothing to do with your spirituality. Real spiritual issues, spiritual things that we're here to transcend are, for example, deep identity with this human form. When you think this is all you are, is this human body. I would take a life with an imbalance in this machine, and while having the realization that I'm not this body, I would take that package any day over an easy life and healthy body, but yet this is all I think I am. This body. Yeah, that's not a good deal. You're gonna have to come back here and do this all over again, and at some point, because of the law of evolution, you're gonna have a hard life, because that's what makes the consciousness outgrow this body. So that's one of the main, because we're talking about the difference between mechanical issues or imbalances and actual spiritual limitations. And I'm telling you, or spiritual issues, I'm telling you, most of you, it's not a spiritual issue. And I was giving examples of what spiritual issues are. That's one, when you're super identified with this human form. And also everything that comes with that. If you're identified with this human form, then you're going to be super. You're going to be needing attention. You're going to be like from the world that you exist. You need success. You need to feel like you're something. You have this inordinate need. Please validate me. Please, I need to get my life on an external level, like up to par, so that then people give me attention. I need to be loved. I need the girls to like validate me and let me know I'm all right. All those kinds of things. Those are spiritual issues that need to be transcended. Transcending those, man, it's 1,000 times more important than transcending or making your mechanical limitations go away. Your mechanical limitations are going to go away at the latest when this body drops. They're gone. That's it. That old Pinto that's broken down and is just sputtering. You get out of that car and it's like you're cool. It's not sputtering. You see? It's the same with this body. But if you don't transcend these spiritual limitations, that doesn't stop. Those things don't belong. They're not in this physical body. They're in your causal body. They're in your deeper core. So then you'll need to come back again and be in a situation where there's enough friction that will uproot those things. That's the first thing, to where you can actually see it. And then transcending it's the next step. So I say to those who are watching, who are on the level that understand this, and I know there's definitely more than a few of you, I can tell by the comments, focus on that. Focus on your spiritual being. In what kind of, its identity is the real thing you want to transcend. Is there still identity left? If you have you're driving a broken car, or a car with some limitations in your body, how identified with those limitations are you? Just because you're not identified with them doesn't make them go away, though. Understand that too. That's the other thing. You may like really, like, you know that you're not these symptoms that are happening. You know that, but then the self-talk, the delusional self-talk is telling you, yeah, but then if I really know that, why are they still happening? Because that's what happens. Yeah, but the other person, they said they knew it was happening and then they were free to, okay, that's them. It wasn't as deep. Your limitations are deeper. No, but I really, really want to get rid of it. Yeah, I know, that's the lesson though. That's the paradox. To accept you can't, it's not up to you to get rid of it. You do your best. Intuition will guide you how to manage the symptoms. And I'm telling you, the less like obsessed you are with trying to like fix something that's not in your power to fix it, magically the better it gets. Then you can start to hear intuition tell you more how to adjust your diet, how to adjust your lifestyle, reduce the load that your nervous system's always carrying. You start making these fine-tuning changes, and all of a sudden your symptoms are going down. And then you accept that. You're like, okay. You get to a place where your symptoms are cool enough you don't mind. So, not everything is to be transcended. They can't be. Doesn't matter how spiritual you are, it doesn't matter. Do you know that? Can you accept that? Oh, I don't believe you. That's cool. That's cool. The video's not for you then. Like, it's cool. I didn't believe it either. I didn't like to hear people talk like this because it messed me up. I was in pursuit. I was gonna beat this thing. I don't need somebody telling me like, man, you can't beat this. You gotta surrender. Yeah, you go surrender, man. You're weak. I'm gonna go handle this. So I understand. I've been through the stages, you know. I don't take it personal. Real wisdom is when you know, is this situation something that is to be beaten? Because some are. Or is this a situation where you need to use like the martial art form Aikido, where you need to yield to this? You beating it is in the yielding. You have to discern and know what this is what living wisdom will give you at some point. You might have to jump all over the planet trying to beat it to come to that, but it's worth it in the end. If you want to see my book, The Autobiography of a Human, I talk about that a lot. And also preserving your sexual energy. That was a huge thing. I couldn't. We got to get rid of bad habits too, because they keep us low and we can't extract any of our life force is being burned up via, it's going into all of our bad habits. How can we, there's no life force left to extract the downloads. So that's why I made books on that. Preserving your sexual energy and True Health book. You can see my website if you like. All right. I didn't plan on I'm surprised. Usually when I make videos about relationships and girls, it goes over 30 minutes, but there were some things to say, I believe. All right, good. You guys have a good day, and I'll talk to you soon. All right.